Born in the shadows of Cebu's haunted land, a creature of nightmares, with blood on his hands, underneath the starless sky, where the demons freely roam. An American vampire carving terror in his home.
Dr. Alexander Carter has always been a man of purpose. He spent years studying medicine in the bustling city of Baltimore. Driven by a desire to help those in need, his heart yearned for adventure and to make difference beyond the confines of his homeland. So when the opportunity arose for him to embark on a volunteer mission to Cebu, Philippines, he seized it eagerly. Arriving in Cebu, Dr. Carter was immediately struck by the warmth of the people and the vibrant culture that enveloped the island. He threw himself into his work at the local clinic, tending to the sick and injured with compassion and skill. Days were long and challenging, but he found fulfillment in knowing he was making a difference in the lives of those less fortunate. However, as night fell over the island, Dr. Carter's life took an unexpected turn. One fateful evening, while walking back to his accommodations after a particularly grueling day at the clinic, he encountered a mysterious Filipino woman. She was unlike anyone he's ever seen before.
Good evening. It's rather late for a stroll, isn't it?
Good evening, Doctor. The night holds its own secrets, one that only reveals themselves under the cloaks of darkness.
Hmm. Uh, Secrets? Pray tell. What secrets does the night hold?
Ah, that's Doctor. It's those brave enough to seek them out. But perhaps you'd care to join me on the adventure.
I must admit, I'm rather curious about this adventure. Lead the way.
Do you see that constellation, Doctor? It is said to be guardian of lost souls, guiding them safely to the afterlife.
The folklore on this island is truly captivating.
Embrace the night, Doctor, for its whole mysterious behind for the wildest dreams.
He prowls through the alleys with a hunger cold as death, leaving behind a trail of fear with every silent breath. His eyes ablaze with hunger, piercing through the night, a predator in shadows, craving endless fright. Beneath the cursed moon, he feasts on mortal souls, that screams a symphony as their life force he controls. In the heart of the city, where the lost souls dwell, an American vampire.
Her dark eyes gleaming with an otherworldly intensity. Intrigued by her presence, Dr. Carter struck up a conversation with the woman, who introduced herself as Maria. She spoke of the island's rich history and folklore, captivating him with tales of ancient legends and myths. Drawn to her enigmatic charm, Dr. Carter found himself unable to resist her company, despite the warning bells ringing faintly in the back of his mind. As the night wore on, Maria's demeanor grew increasingly alluring, her gaze hypnotic, seductive. Dr. Carter felt himself falling under her spell, his rationality slipping away with each passing moment. In a moment of reckless abandon, he allowed himself to be drawn into her embrace, oblivious to the dark fate that awaited him. When he woke the following morning, Dr. Carter found himself changed in ways he could scarcely comprehend. The sun burned his skin with an intensity he had never felt before, and an insatiable thirst gnawed on his insides. Panic seized him as he realized the truth. He had been turned into a creature of the night, a vampire, hunted by the enormity of his transformation. He struggled to come to terms with his new existence. The very essence of his being rebelled against the predatory instincts that now consumed him. Conflicting with the values of compassion and healing that he once defined him as a doctor. Desperate for guidance, Dr. Carter sought out Maria, the woman who cursed him with his eternal torment. But she was nowhere to be found, leaving him alone to grapple with his inner turmoil. In the depths of his despair, he resolved to find a way to reconcile his newfound vampiric nature with his unwavering dedication to the Hippocratic Oath. And so Dr. Alexander Carter embraced on a journey of self-discovery unlike any other, navigating the treacherous waters of immortality with the steadfast resolve of a man determined to reclaim his humanity. Through the path ahead was fraught with peril and uncertainty, he refused to succumb to the darkness that threatened to consume him, clinging to the hope that one day he would find redemption in the light of a new dawn.
But deep within his darkness there lies a glimmer of remorse, a fleeting He wanders through the gloom, a tortured soul forever trapped in his own tomb, born in the shadows of Cebu's haunted land.
This will be a new series on my channel titled Cebu by Night. It is about an American vampire, obviously, who was a doctor in Baltimore and has come to Cebu to help with any medical situation as like a volunteer. And a female vampire in Cebu, seeing him for what he was worth, and she figures that he is useful for the island of Mactan, for Philippines in general, so she embraced him in order to keep him in the Philippines. But she didn't know what to do at that point, so he's sort of kind of lost in this vampire lifestyle. But this is going to be a new series that I'm going to be posting on my channel. This is chapter one. This is kind of just like an introductory to this tale. It's from Vampire the Masquerade, the book, if you've ever heard of that. And then going forward, I'm going to go into him learning about the vampire lifestyle, and then like maybe even meeting other vampires and learning about vampire politics in Cebu. So in this story, it's going to be a bit more gothic version of Cebu. It's going to be close to real life, like 80-90%. Obviously, there's vampires in the story. Everything's going to be a little bit more gothic. There's vampires behind some of the power plays in the Cebu Mactan area. But going forward with that, there's a lot more nightlife, like neon lights and buildings and things like that, and Mactan and in Cebu. So like after he's bit, the neon lights is flickering against the dark streets of Cebu, and he's going through the city with his hunger gnawing inside his insides, and all of his senses are amplified by his new found vampire ability. He can see further, he can hear more, and then he's honing in on this pulsating rhythms emanating from this like nearby club. And then he's drawn by the scent of like sweet alcohol in blood on top of that, and the faintest traces of the alcohol in blood. So he ventures inside of it, his eyes adjusting to the dimly lit atmosphere. And this club is like just buzzed with energy, like bodies dancing, jumping to the music. And then his like predatory instincts is kicking in. Now he's a doctor and he's thinking to himself about the Hippocratic oath. He has sworn to do no harm. But here he is scanning the crowd, searching for his next victim. Well, his first victim. And his gaze settles upon a woman. Her movements fluid, hypnotic as he like dances and just having fun, oblivious to the danger lurking in the shadows. And with silent steps he approached her, his presence sending a shiver down his spine. She feels something is off. She turns and faces him, her eyes widening both in fear and fascination, as she sensed something otherworldly about him. He flashed a seductive smile, his fangs barely concealed under his lips. Intrigued by the stranger's allure, she allowed herself to be drawn into the conversation. His words smooth, his touch electric. He whispered promises of excitement. Entranced by his charm, she accepted his invitation to step outside for a private moment, away from the clamor of the club. As they ventured into the alley behind the club, the vampire's hunger reached a new level, his fangs along, thirsting for the taste. Sensing the shift in his demeanor, the woman's instinct screamed at her to flee, but it was too late. With lightning speed, he pounced, his grip tightening around her as he bares his fangs. Before she could react, he sank his teeth into her neck, drinking deeply from her life force. Her screams echoed in the alley walls, muffled by the night as the vampire fed. His insatiable thirst finally quenched, if only momentarily, as he withdrew from his victim, leaving her drained, unconscious but alive. He refuses to kill, still. He is the doctor, but he leaves her unconscious on the cold pavement, scarred, scared by what he's done. His vampire senses hums with satisfaction, but beneath the euphoria of the hunt, like a gnawing emptiness lingered, a reminder of the curse that now bound him to the shadows of eternity. So that's like an introductory scene. This is like very first bite going forward.
In the heart of Cebu, where darkness reigns supreme, a man once mortal, now trapped in a terrifying dream. An American vampire, his soul forever damned, turned amidst the whispers in the devil's cruel hand. Born in the shadows of Cebu's haunted land, a creature of nightmares, with blood on his hands, underneath the starless sky, where the demons freely roam. An American vampire, carving terror in his home. He prowls through the alleys with a hunger cold as death, leaving behind a trail of fear with every silent breath. His eyes ablaze with hunger, piercing through the night, a predator in shadows, craving endless fright. Beneath the cursed moon, he feasts on mortal souls. Their screams a symphony as the life force he controls. In the heart of the city, where the lost souls wail, an American vampire, a nightmare's ghastly tale. But deep within his darkness there lies a glimmer of remorse, a fleeting memory of the man he was before. Haunted by his sins, he wanders through the gloom, a tortured soul forever trapped in his own tomb. Born in the shadows of Cebu's haunted land, a creature of nightmares with blood on his hands, underneath the starless sky, where the demons freely roam. An American vampire, forever cursed to roam. So if you dare to venture where the shadows dwell, beware the American vampire, for he knows your darkest spell. In the heart of Cebu's terror, he reigns supreme, an eternal nightmare, and a land of shattered dreams. So if you dare to